All right, fellas. I'm going to be real. I'm going to be real. I don't really know what this is going to be. It's going to be pretty free form, okay? I just wanted to have a little sit down, a little chat maybe, just to see if maybe we can perhaps agree that after a long time, Battlefield might be back. Maybe, perhaps, potentially. Um, I like Battlefield. It was one of those games that I used to watch my brother play, my older brother, and I used to not understand it. I used to not be able to play it, but I was always intrigued by a lot of the. I'm probably going to use this word a lot if I keep making videos, but immersion. There was something about it that just seemed to capture more of a vibe, shall we say. Um, the grittiness, the kind of destruction, and the chaos. So I would watch my brother on it, and it wasn't until around Battlefield 3, towards the end of its heyday, that I kind of got to actually start playing it for myself. And I didn't realize it back then, but that type of immersion is kind of something that I still seek in games, like even today. I like that feeling of living in another world. And I know that's really weird because it's Battlefield and it's just a kind of crazy multiplayer thing. But there was just something unique to it, you know? So playing Battlefield 3, being really bad at Battlefield 3, but still having fun, and then jumping on to Battlefield 4 at kind of the end of the PS3 day to the start of the next gen consoles. I loved that game. I played so much Battlefield 4. And yeah, it was great with friends, but the amount that I played just on my own, having a total blast, act like playing playing immersively and just enjoying that feeling of chaos. So Battlefield 4 I think is still in some ways my favorite, and I know that there will be something there with me just having played it at the age that I played it at and having a lot more time to play the games that, I could play. Um, but I spent a lot of time in that game. I was big in that community. The Easter eggs, the dinosaur stuff. I even know, I can't prove this, but I even predicted the the Megalodon encounter in the Naval Assault DLC before it even dropped. I was that in sync with Battlefield that I was predicting their Easter eggs. Um, and then obviously, eventually, in this weird time in FPS history when everything was like that, which it still kind of is, we got Battlefield 1. And immersion wise, wait a minute. I forgot about Hardline. I even played Hardline. Not gonna lie, I actually quite enjoyed Hardline. But given that I forgot to even mention it, maybe we can save that for another time and just move on to Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1, you had the mud on your guns, you had the grit, you had a completely different vibe and atmosphere. And honestly, I think that raw level of immersion, especially for people that I know in my life, is still kind of being chased after all these years. Um, Battlefield 5 was good. I played Battlefield 5. I think it was really Battlefield 5 at the time where I think we all started realizing like, hmm, something's not right here. Something just maybe feels a bit off. And even though it was good, there was just these like fundamental issues that weren't quite, fitting, I would say. So even though I had a lot of fun with it, I wasn't as tethered to it like I was the other Battlefields. Battlefield 2042. Um, I think we all know about Battlefield 2042. I think, not saying we should just forget about it. I just hope that the lessons are learned from it. It had potential, double the player count, the big maps. It really, really could have been something, but I think you can tell more than creative differences. It was more like EA being difficult differences and just trying to rush something out and capitalize on the godforsaken live service kerfuffle that's just kind of taken over gaming at the minute, which we all like to think it's on its way out. It doesn't seem like it's going to be on its way out. We can only hope. Okay, we can only pray. So then moving on to Battlefield 6, just the open beta. I watched some Twitch streamer, I think it was like the Tap Man, for half an hour so that I could get a code and play it a bit early. And I had seen some of the leaks, I'd seen some of like the alpha gameplay, but I started feeling very quickly into playing it. That feeling of like, are we back? Could we be back? And I know it's only like a beta. You know, beta probably not going to have too much changed before launch, as betas usually do. But it made me feel like I was playing Battlefield 3 and 4 again. And that's big for me because maybe I'm just always chasing a sweet hit of that nostalgia, you know, but I feel like they might have done it. The atmosphere, there is some things that I don't think are totally, you know, going to land well, that we're going to have to wait and see as the game comes out more, and hopefully they keep patching it more. But now that I've rambled a bunch about me getting here, yeah, I just want to quickly, you know, talk about some things with Battlefield that I actually thought it did well, and maybe some things that it didn't do too well. I'll hopefully have some clips in the background of this to give you more of a vibe, but what I loved was just that feeling was back. You know, there's a specific feeling that you get playing Battlefield. For me, it's immersion. It's hard for me to articulate it because I'm just kind of rambling at the moment. But that feeling, that like essence, despite some of the issues, I really do feel like they're making moves in the right direction here, like completely. The grit feels like it's back. The destruction looks spectacular. I still think we maybe need just a bit more to make it feel less like set piecey. Because when you see those leaks and you see that alpha stuff, you're like, oh my god, like all this stuff's falling down everywhere. This is crazy. Oh, if there's a guy behind that wall, I can probably just dunce something at that wall and blow it up. And it's kind of like that. And when that strikes, it's really effective. But I think because it's looking that good now, it really, really sticks out at those times where you feel like that should happen, but the wall is totally, totally stationary, and it's just going to stay there. The spotting is weird. I don't know what they're really thinking with it, and I do hope that they change it a little bit, because there's the way it works, just in case you don't know, is that if you're just aiming, it'll spot people immediately. Different to other battlefields where you'd have to actually do something. You'd have to hopefully see the person and press spot, or spam spot and hope it picks someone up. But there was a bit more to it than literally just aiming and finding all these orange dots and then just shooting at the orange dots. Which kind of leads me into another thing that I'd like to talk about as well. There's a visibility thing. Now, my poor PC, she's not great at the minute, so I can't really test this out on like my rig, because my PC needs upgrades, man. It needs upgrades. So I'm on PS5. I'm not on a PS5 Pro, just a PS5. And I don't know if it's brightness settings. I don't know if it's like a sharpness thing. I know a lot of games right now are using, obviously, like upscaling tech. And I won't get into a lot of what I think could be detriments of that here, because I really do think the industry is maybe a bit too reliant on things like upscaling at the moment. And sometimes, especially when, the game starts to chugging, there's a kind of like blurriness that kind of goes over everything, like things become a bit hard to see, and it's almost like things just all blend a wee bit. So this, in conjunction with the spotting, I think there's an issue there. The brightness, the overexposure, it needs work. And I think either just kind of get rid of that automatic spotting, maybe unless you're in a vehicle or something, and just allow you to try and actually see more. So even if it is some sort of game blurriness, everyone's kind of on the same page. But yeah, I think that's about it. I'm gonna need to check my notes and see if there's anything I forgot. Oh yeah, wait. The new map. There's a new map that's gonna be so that's one thing I kind of forgot to talk about. Okay, so I'm cutting and I'm putting this in here because I actually already finished filming this, or so I thought, and I kind of realized I forgot to talk about the maps. They need a bit of work, but I do think the maps are there. I agree with people saying that they are a bit small, but I don't agree that they're too small. I think we just need to see more of the game as it is to really judge that. And a lot of the maps, especially like the peak one, there's a lot of areas where it definitely looks like they could just, you know, on Conquest, add another sector, like just add another sector. I do think it's maybe a bit jarring that they've only chosen very infantry-focused maps. However, I don't actually think that they're too bad. I don't think the infantry experience has been awful. And I think, much like, you know, Battlefield 3 especially, some of the times where maybe you didn't even expect to enjoy a game as much was when it was just that raw infantry. Like, brilliant game on North Shore Canals, or just a really good rush map on Operation Metro with like 1,000,000 tickets taking 3 hours to finish, just infantry focus. I think the way they blended this with the vehicles, and I'll get into this point as well next, another kind of more focus on actual team play and support, I think it fits quite well. I know it's just a beta and everyone's figuring things out, but I've noticed that, you know, a lot of people revving up the tanks and making sure that like stuff stays repaired. Healing, I don't know, I think they've made a lot of this stuff a bit more intuitive, that from a gameplay perspective it's helped, and I hope that stays. I hope they give more incentive to be a team player, because I mean, I know it was the case for me. I love being a kind of more support player, healer, you know, repairing stuff anyway. But there was that little, you know, like bat sticker thing if you get 3,000 heals. So maybe people were just doing it for that reason. But, you know, I digress. I do think they've kind of nailed it there. So this map flow, that feeling of like ducking through alleyways and taking things maybe a bit slower because it is quite chaotic, it's Battlefield. And just, I don't know, that kind of tactical feeling, you know, when you take down a tank on your own, or you're in a tank and you barge around a corner with your friend, I was playing with randoms, but you know, I consider him my friend, fuck it. You know, and there's just tons of infantry there, and you're just lost in that moment and the immersive quality of it all. I think they nailed that. I think while the maps are very infantry focused, they've actually done a good job at giving you a lot of like rivets, a lot of holes, a lot of different angles for you to get about. And I think, you know, as a community, once we learn the maps a bit more, we'll be able to find out what really is bad map design and what's maybe just stuff that we got to get to grips with a kind of new Battlefield game. Because we like, there's a lot of stuff about Battlefield being like, oh, it's not the same, or it never will be the same. But I think if you really play Battlefield and just enjoy it for what it is and for what they try, I think every Battlefield game has been a bit divisive. I think that just comes with having such a large fan base and people that get invested in this type of game for very specific reasons. And I feel that with Battlefield 6, they're nailing that kind of new vibe, but just with their new spin on it. So yeah, I really can't actually think of anything else I want to say now. So I might just cut out of this bit back to the ending. Yeah, because this is just a ramble. I'm just trying to make a start here, okay? I'm trying to make a start. I was just hoping we could talk. Is that okay? Is that allowed? I hope so. And if you, for some reason, actually enjoyed this total ramble, let me know, because I really like talking about games. I'm really passionate about them. And I want to just start doing more with my life that I'm passionate about before we all get ground up in the capitalist hellscape that we're all stuck in. So if you like this, let me know. I'd be happy to take suggestions. I think my next video, I'm going to try and do something with Death Stranding, because I've love Death Stranding, and I've loved it for years. And the second one just really connected with me. So hopefully, me and BB will see you again. I'm gonna watch this over. There's probably gonna be cuts because we'll see. All right, we'll see. If you like this, let me know what you think. If you want to subscribe for some reason, oh, amazing. Smash that like button, even if you will, if you may. And yeah, have a good one. I hope to see you in the next portion of the beta that I think starts on like the 14th or something like that.